What's up guys, welcome to a new video. Today I'm gonna show you how to create this. This is a little shimmy which you could use for traversal games and whatnot, and you can readjust them and redesign it to fit other type of traversal. Of course this requires no extra components, no extra plugins. It's just a simple blueprint actor with some events and some calculations. But yeah, let's get right into it. Now let's get started into creating this system. The first thing I'm going to do is going to explain this. I've got an FBX file on the GitHub that contains the animations I'm using. If you want to use them, go for it. If you don't, that's fine. But for my purpose, they're not good in any way, shape or form. Let's just show you. This is the idle, and then this is the walk. Yeah, I did not put much effort in. I'm not an animator. I don't try because I know I'll never be that great. But it'll serve its purpose. So first thing, quick little thing I'm going to do is create blend space. So let's go to where is it? Animation legacy 1D blend space, and I'm going to select a mannequin. So blend space, shimmy. This is what I'm calling it. You can call it however you like. Now for this, the horizontal axis on the details panel on the left, I'm going to call it velocity, and then between 0 and 250. This is the player speeds I'll set later on in my player blueprint. Shimmy, and then let's go for the idle, and then set the velocity to 0, and then we'll set the walk, set the velocity to 250. Now if you set the alt, you can, if you press Control and drag along, you can see at different speeds it does animation. This is what we're using for animation. And now, next thing we're going to do is create an interface, because I try and reduce as much casting as possible. For experimentation wise, it's okay, it will help, but when you want to make it as efficient and less detrimental to performance as possible, you use interfaces or other means of finding out the exact blueprint being used. So let's go with BI anim in my case, and then there you go, and it should give you a new function instantly, which I'm going to call set shimmy, and then the input is going to be shimmy of type boolean. There you go, that's all I need to do for this. And now let's set up the animation blueprint first. Now if we go to the character, mannequins, where is it exactly? Animations, ABP Manny. This, let's get rid of this. Ignore that. Right. This is what should appear. This is what you have. Now the reason why I use APP Manny is because the Quinn is a child of this blueprint, so it will apply to both. Now first thing I'm going to do is add the interface. So if you get to class settings, look for implemented interface, and then go BI anim. That is what mine's called. Yours will be called however it likes. Then compile, and then if you go to the bottom left in interfaces, you should see this brand new function. So if you click it, there you go, it's dragged it in. Now if I go promote to variable, there you go, shimmy, and now there you go, that will turn it on. Now to get an actual animation playing, this is what should be up on your anim graph. Now, because of the control rig, I'm going to do mine slightly differently. I'm going to do mine slightly different to what you probably would do it. But let's do this. I'm going to drag this out, blend poses by ball, and then on false, the control rig. From control rig to this, we'll go to the output pose. And now, if we go to the asset browser, look for the blend space shimmy, and do that and set that to true. Now let's get the ground velocity, which in an event graph should already be given to you. So ground speed. So if I go to here and search up ground, awful spelling, ground speed, get ground speed, put it in, and there you go. Now for the purposes of this, let's just turn this on, and there you go. See? It'll blend between them. So there you go. That is it for this animation. You don't need to mess around with it anymore. You can leave it alone. So let's close this, close all that. You don't need to worry about that. Let's save all of this, because who knows, my computer might crash. No, it won't. It won't crash. Now, the next thing we're going to do, I need to keep track of what exactly I'm doing, otherwise it'll cause problems. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is do the events and whatnot in the blueprint, in the player blueprint. This all makes sense when you get to what I'm going to use to make what I've shown you at the start of the video. This will all make sense. Now first we're going to do enable camera, make a new two custom events, one called enable camera, custom event, disable camera. Now, in here you should have this. Now we've got to follow camera. Should have activate, and then we should have deactivate. Then we want to do, gonna get the player controller, render target, I think it's called, view, trying to remember the exact nodes used. Okay, it's view target, set view target with blend. That's what I wanted. And then we set the target to self, or the new view target will set that to self. There you go. This, enable, disable, camera. This is so it can interchange between the actor I'm going to create and this one's camera, because we're going to have another camera. So let's do, and now we can do the actual movement. So create another custom event, call it activate shimmy movement, and then we're going to get the character movement. That should already be in this blueprint. And let's set the plane constraint to enabled. And then we're going to turn on the shimmy in the blueprint, in the anim blueprint. So we're going to get an anim instance from the mesh. And then because I've done the interface, I don't need to cast. And then I could just do this, set shimmy. And then I'm going to get the character movement again. turn off orient to movement. And then we're gonna set the max walk speed to 250. And now we're gonna do the opposite. So let's copy all this. You can make this more organized and create a new custom event. Disable. Did I spell it right? No, I didn't spell it right. Shimmy. Oh, forgot to set this to true. But yeah, set plane constraint. Oh, I forgot to set this one to true as well. Yeah, I made mistakes as well. Right, so now we want to do the opposite. So this one will be disabled, so this one back to enabled. Orient to movement, this is to make the player rotate based on velocity, based on the direction of the velocity. And then we're going to set movement speed back to 500, because that is the standard movement speed of the player. And there you go. That is it for this. So activate, deactivate, shimmy movement. And then we're going to create one more. Fuck's sakes. We're going to create one more custom event in this, and then we won't have to touch it again. I'm going to call this update, constraint, and rotation. Now we're going to have two inputs for this. First one is the plane normal. It's called plane normal, and we're going to set type as vector, and then the other one is called rotation. And then we're going to set that as a rotator. Now for the character movement, let's set plane, drag it out and set plane constraint normal. Drag it out, connect it, and there you go. And then for rotation, we're going to do get actor rotation, R interp 2. Set the target to this one, and then delta time we'll get, well, delta seconds, and interp speed, this is how fast the player will rotate, we're going to set that to 4, and then we're going to do set actor rotation. Oh, hello, that's new. Ah, for God's sakes. Forgot to connect. Yeah. That is it. There you go. And that is the player done. We don't have to touch it. Now, let's get the next one. Now, for this one, I'm going to create a new actor. So if we go to blueprints, blueprint class up here, do type actor, I'm going to call it BP shimmy camera. And then we're going to do some things in the components. We're going to add a camera collider. Going to do box collider. Box collision. We're going to have two of them. We're going to call one start trigger. Call the other end trigger. And then we're going to add a spline. Okay, then we're going to add a camera. There you go. So let's do this. Let's get the end trigger over it, just so it's easier to tell. Right. And then we're going to create some variables now, just so it makes the process a little easier. So first we're going to do camera active as a boolean. We're going to do player. We're going to do our player blueprint, whichever it is called. For my case, it's third person character as an object reference. I'm going to create another one called distance alarm spline. Going to do was enabled. No, forget that quickly. I'm going to change this from character to float on distance alarm spline, and then we're going to create another one called was enabled. This will all out serve its purpose. Change this to boolean, and then we're going to create another boolean called forward. There you go. Now let's start this. Now first, we'll get rid of those two. We don't need those. So first thing we're going to do is select a start trigger, go all the way down at the bottom, and hit component begin overlap. And then we're going to do cast to third person character, and then set that as the player, and then branch was enabled. This will all come relevant. And then we're going to do forward, set that to true. I will put something here, so just I will put something here, so let's just leave that as empty space for now. It'll become relevant very soon. And then we get set that to rotation. Now first, here's one thing. I've noticed the way the way a person will move into a gap, it can cause issues. So to circumvent that, I relied it based on the collider's location, because it caused some issues when there was no restrictions to movement when you first got into it. As it just collided against the wall, it just messed up the whole process at times. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to do get actor. Of course you don't have to do this, but it can help with adjustments later on. Get actor location. Now we're going to break the vector, because we don't want to change the height, we just want X and Y. That is what I want to change. Once again, it depends how this is performed. It could cause some issues, but for my purpose, you don't have to do this though. So no, let's do this. Let's not use this. Let's not use that for now. Let's just continue on, and then if an issue arises, I will use it once again. Right, first we're going to do get that one. We're going to do deactivate camera. Should be deactivate. What's the name of it called again? Disable, not deactivate. Okay, disable camera. We're going to do that. Oh, I forgot to check this as well. Yeah, forgive me if I forget some clicks and whatnot. Now we're going to activate movement, shimmy movement. Now the reason why we want to deactivate the camera as well is because we want to use the camera in this spline. We want to use this camera. So yeah, that's what I want to do. So we go to, then next we select this camera, go activate, make it activate just in case it is deactivated at any point. And then we're going to get player controller, or we could do it from here. Get player controller. No, we can't do that. Okay, that's fine. Get player controller, set view, target with blend, and then do self. This will give the camera control to this actor. That's what I picked out from it. And do blend time of 0.3. Oh wait, yeah, 0.3 on the player as well, on the player blueprint. Want to do that as well. The next thing I'll do is set camera to active, and then set was enabled to true. There you go, and that is it for this bit. Now there's a custom event I want to add, and that is called Start Shimmy. Custom event, Start Shimmy. And that is because right, so let's add this into the world so I could demonstrate a bit clearer. So let's add a cube, let's add two cubes. Let's do this. Let's make it bigger. Then we'll put the camera there. Now, if we go and select the default thing, go end trigger, drag this. Let's change perspective. Change perspective so it's easier to tell what's going on. Do that. Then we're going to select the start trigger in here. In the details panel, we're going to select start trigger. Bring it a bit closer. Then we're going to make it just paper thin. Right. And then we're going to select our spline. We're going to go to the select spline point, go to the last one. Or this one, just select one. Oh. Just select this one. And drag it all the way to the end. And then there you go. Now let's make let's quickly move that along quickly, just so I can see how big the player is. Let's shift these along a little. I want to do it smaller. There you go. There's a gap. It's best to try and center it. There you go. Right, and then let's make these triggers bigger, so then there's no chance of possibly just walking past them. There you go. Do the same for the end trigger. And there you go. Then we're gonna select a spline again. Where's the let's go to the last spline and do that. Because the camera's in the way, gotta do it like this. There you go. Right. Now let's set this up. Alright, yeah, I was going to explain what I was going to do. Right. First, let's say you walk through here. That is why I set the forward thing. But then say you want to go this way. You're hitting this trigger. Now, because the triggers are two different events, because I want to be able to go through this way to this side and turn off the ability to shimmy through, and I'll go from this way to that way and turn it off. Now that is why I added this. And the same can be said as stop shimmy. Because and that is also what I want to add here. Stop shimmy. Because it could be a thing of you go through this side, you get to halfway there, and then you decide to go back, and then you hit that again. It will turn it off. So then you can walk out and go normal. Really, Jay? Right, now, next we pretty much do the opposite of everything we've already done. But we do that. Start shimmy. Now instead of this being there, sorry if I'm being quiet when I'm doing this, just trying to concentrate. There you go, and then instead of that, we're going to get this end trigger and get the whoops, start trigger's meant to be there, done the wrong way around. Yeah, forgive me once again if I do mistakes like this. So I'm like focusing on talking and doing this, but yeah. So was enabled, go to true, it will set the player to this one, as collided, it will set forward to false, and then it will start the shimmy, and it will do all of this. And now to stop the shimmy, we disable this camera, we deactivate this camera, deactivate. This is just to guarantee you won't use this camera anymore. And instead of enable camera, I'm going to do enable camera. Instead of disable. And instead of activate shimmy movement, I'm going to do deactivate shimmy movement. Or disable. Disable shimmy movement. And then I'm gonna get rid of that. And then we don't need that. And then we get these two and set them to false. And then that is everything covered. And there you go, that's everything covered. On these are just to get the thing started. So it starts using the camera, starts the movement. What we're going to do is create the actual calculations. No. Because we've got one more function we have not made use of in the player. So first we're going to create two functions. They're both going to be pure functions. So we're going to call the first one get plain normal. And then we're going to create another pure function and call it get. Actually, we'll do that later. We'll do that one later. Right, and then for this one, we do two inputs. Do spline component as a type on one. Oh, god damn it. Component. Spline. And then distance as a float. And then we're going to add a return value and call it plain normal. Plain normal. Do it as a vector. Don't forget to set it to pure. And then we'll do this. Now first we get right vector at distance along spline. Plug in the distance, set the coordinate space to world. And we times it by a float, which will be determined by the direction. And then the way it will be determined by the direction is by the forward boolean. And then that is the plain normal. And then we're going to create another pure function and call it like get player rotation. Get player rotation. Make it a pure function. We're going to have a distance. Well, no, we're going to do spline. Spline component. We're going to do distance. Right. Oh wow, this is actually a long video. Of just the time frame. It's a long video. Right. And then we're going to do return value, bugger, not there, return value of rotator. Rotator, and there you go. Now we're going to do almost the same thing, but instead of get right vector, we're going to do get rotation at distance along spline. Do world, we're going to break the rotator. No. Break. Make sure it is like this, so it returns float values. Now we're going to do make rotator. God sakes, right. This is future me. I just realised the past 10 minutes haven't been recorded. So yeah, let's just get through this. Now I was up to here. If you see a cut, it's because, well, yeah. I finished it, but it didn't record any of it. So yeah, let's get back into this. So we're going to plug this in here. This will determine the direction the player is rotated. So there you go, let's add that there. And there you go. And if I don't know whether it's in a bit like what was gone, but these two were swapped around. Got to swap them around. So it was start trigger there, end trigger there. That is how it's meant to go. And now let's get the end trigger, the end event tick. Now first we're going to update the constraint and rotation, and then we are going to get the spline let's just drag it out. Get find location closest to world location. Player world location. Get actor location. I'm going to set the coordinate space to world. And for the spline, we're going to get distance along spline at location. Set that to world space as well. I'm going to drag out the normal, drag out that, put a distance in both of them, plug in the spline, we're going to plug in the normal into this and the rotation into that. Right, and then we're also going to go down here, subtract. I got to try and use, like, not use the symbol keys because that's what turned off. That's what turned off my recording previously. So, yeah, I usually use the symbol keys a lot. First, get actor. No, we're gonna get the player. Get actor right vector. We're gonna multiply it by a float. This will, so then it will put, I'll explain it this way. Because the player faces this way and this way when going through the wall, I want the right vector, not the forward vector, because that would get this way and this way. So I want the right vector. That is why I've done that. Yes, I know. Back up. This has also got to be a branch for camera active. If camera is active, it will do it. If it's not, then there you go. God damn it, I'm out of my groove. Right, first, then we get the camera, then we get world location, and interpret, v-interp, and then the delta time will be the delta seconds from its event tick. This will help with how much, like, frame rate. It will adjust accordingly with frame rate. And then we're going to do interp speed, so 4. And then we're going to do set world location. This is to make the process smoother. Otherwise, if you do it directly without this, it'll be very snappy. And then set world rotation. This is so the camera faces the player. Otherwise it just will keep facing one direction and won't get anywhere. So what we're going to do is get the player, get actor location. Now we don't want it to face the feet of the player. We want to face like the back of our player, like our middle of our back of our player. And then we're going to get the camera, get world location, find lookout rotation, and then we're gonna get the camera again, get world rotation, and do an R interp. This will interpolate between the rotations. The delta time, once again, will be the event tick delta time seconds thing. Interp speed will be 5. Smoother transition, and then it'll be plugged into that. And there you go. that is it done. Okay, yeah, recording that's not messed up again. But yeah, that is it. So if you go here, it should go through. Now one thing to note, there is a bug. Well, it's an unavoidable bug really. If you have the start trigger literally like that at the entrance, right, you can't move. Like, that's how it is. And if you don't do it far enough in, let's try and make it so, there you go, see, and you're stuck. That is because of a plane constraints system I'm using. Because it's constrained in one direction, the second you collide your sign, because you can't turn, that's it, you can't go any further forward. So if you're ever using this system, you have to make sure this is like more than the width of a player collider into the gap. So make sure it's like that much more in, so then there's no chance, right, yeah, so then there's more chance of it going through. Now of course there's bugs, such as the one you saw. If you go in and you don't commit to going out, no, I can't recreate it. Point is, you get stuck in there. And if you go out, you'll be stuck in the shimmy. Right, and that is it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it, and yeah, guess I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.